Oh, wait,
Greetings,
can you guys hear me?
greetings, greetings.
I
I
can't
can
hear
hear
you.
you, but I can't see you. We can hear you,
What
but
happened?
can't see you. Go out and come back in. I don't know what happened. So while Shamika's going out and coming back in, welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Date Affirm the Real. We are going to wait just a couple of moments so that Shamika can go out and come back in. Shamika is the co host with me every other Tuesday as we dive into multiple different topics about a number of different things. And so Shamika is a licensed therapist, and so she is a part of the team and comes in to speak to us about all of the various things that surround mental health and having a more productive, healthy, healing relationship with yourself first, and then connecting with others and doing the same. So, welcome in and forgive the technical issue, but we'll work right through that thing. We'll work right through it as we always do, right? Okay, so I am Keya McClain, the poet, and I will be co hosting with Shamika this evening. And again, as we wait for her to come back in, we will have a discussion this evening about masculine and feminine energy or partnership. And we need her to come back in because this is a topic that she had interest in speaking about. And sorry, let me cut my volume down over here. So let me check in with her. Hold on just a moment, you guys. Bear with us. Babe, you want to come in as we wait for Shamika? And we can chat a little bit as we wait for Shamika to come back in.
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Hey, sugar.
You gotta forgive me. I'm here in the hot ass Phoenix, trying to live it up, trying to do some work. So, it caught me by surprise. How was your day?
My day was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Rewind. They ain't how the vibe we live in. Not on the live. We don't live that vibe like that. Pretty good. No, we don't do that. As your partner, I gotta uplift.
Well, uplift, babe, because the balloon deflated some today.
Okay, that's all right. We'll get the air back because one of the things that we hear, we told y'all is
You got food on your mouth, babe.
Jimmy John's. Hey, when I'm out of town, if I'm in Arizona and you in Texas, that's food is the only thing I better have on my mouth, right, babe?
Better be. We don't want them problems, them
Hell,
problems.
hell no. And so when you just said you kind of deflated, it made me think of that video we watched. I believe I was with you. Or I don't know if by myself. When the lady was saying, she come in, I only got 20, and so I gotta bring in the other 80, whatever, you know. But those are things we talk
There she
about, and
go.
so there she go. So, babe,
Yay.
if you got 20, if you ain't got but 20 today, I'm gonna bring the 80. Even if I'm 100,000 miles away, I'll bring it for you,
Thank you,
Yay.
baby. I appreciate that.
Oh,
and I'm gonna let y'all have it.
Thank you, baby. You can get back to eating your Jimmy Johns and be the producer. All right, y'all. So we're going to do this introduction again. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience and understanding. We appreciate it. So I am Keya McClain, the poet, and that is,
Shimeka Arnold, the dart therapist.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we're going to have an interesting conversation this evening. And because this was Shamika's idea, I'm going to have her start off the conversation. And we're going to just the way that we saw this conversation happening was that it would just kind of be like dialogue. So, probably for the first time ever, you guys will get to see what it's like a little bit, to see how she and I engage when we're just talking on the phone, right? As
Right.
cousins, like I think you guys should hear how a conversation would sound between us if we were just chatting on the phone about some
Okay.
situations, right? So come on with
Right.
it, cuz.
Babies now, how y'all doing out there, babies? So I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and the conversation was like something about the guy was like, the guy was upset because the woman had, hey, Chevalier, and that's Fancy Moore.
What up, Yule?
And,
What's up, Fancy?
and so the guy was like he was upset because the woman left him, because his wife left him, because his complaint was that I, did everything. Like, I worked, I did everything, I took care of the household, and you was like, oh, you still not making enough. And so, so my friend was like, yeah, she think he need to do it. Something he said, and I said, because he looked at me like, what do you think? And I was like, well, isn't that what you said? You said we need to get back to traditional roles. That would be a traditional role. He gotta work and take care of the household, right? And so we started. So then it was an argument, became about masculine and femininity. And so I was like, but I'm not having a conversation with you about masculinity and femininity. And I was like, because the concept of masculinity and femininity is a construct. Like, it's made up. Because everybody's point of view about what femininity is and what masculinity is different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, that's not the conversation. The conversation was traditional roles. And again, so the concept of, so I was like, so I called my cousin, like, so my issue is the concept, like, we get the concept of what feminine, am I freezing?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm moving slow on my end.
It looks good on our
So,
end.
okay, good. And so I was like, so the idea of what feminine and masculinity is, like, who came up with that concept? What does that mean? What does that mean? Masculinity and femininity. Because, like, I remember learning in school that femininity was about, like, what they did was, so they wanted women to stay home. And again, that's only the colonizers' women, not because our ancestors and stuff had to go out there, because what they did was divide the family system. And so men weren't in the homes. But the purpose they wanted the women to stay at home, cook and clean. But when the war happened, so what happened was, like, this is what I learned. So on TV they would show the women how to make these long meals that would last for like hours, right? Because it's slow cooker and you on the stove all day, because this was your role as a woman. That was the role. But when the men went to war, then the commercials on TV became meals for 15 minutes meals, because they needed the women to go out to work. So the government, the system created, like, we need you women. That's where you got the, what's her name, with the muscles and stuff, because they were like,
Mm-hmm.
so now we need you, right? We need you to be, quote unquote, masculine, quote unquote. We need you to be masculine and work. Mm-hmm. So then they changed. So now the meals was 15-minute meals. This is how you prepare on the commercials, and then TV. Look, prepare this 15-minute meal because you got to go to work because we need you.
Mm-hmm.
When the men came back, the women, they were like, okay, we don't need you no more. So they got back to putting the meals that took all day. But the women, getting a sense of freedom, was like, wait, what? No, and that's when women was like, no, we want to be equal. We want to work like the men work, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's and it's a lot of men that's like, women are becoming more masculine. What does that mean? If I'm at home taking care of a kid and I'm single, I'm a single woman doing this by myself, then everything in the house I got to do. I got to do everything in the house. So does that make me masculine and feminine? Like, or I just got to take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting the men that say the women bringing stuff to the table and all that. It's like a man that won't need to ever do that, and a man won't ever need to say, "I'm a man,"
Yep.
and you need to be feminine, and you need to be masculine. Like a man would never need to say that because it just is. Like there's no, and it's again, it's not an idea of being masculine or feminine. It's just being, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So I love that because years ago, I can't even recall how long ago this came about, but the other thing that came about in that conversation was the alpha male, right? And that was always an interesting thing to me too, because I'm like, if you're an alpha male, then what does that even mean? And why do you have to announce? I feel like anybody that has to announce who they are and what they are don't know who they
It's
are.
not. They don't know
Because
who they are.
I don't have to
You
tell
don't
you I'm a
never
woman.
right. I'm the walking like, hey, I am a woman. No,
I
because
don't have to
I already
tell
am
that.
when I walk
That's
in
not
space.
yes. It's not a story you have to walk around and tell. And then what you said earlier about, originally it was, women were at home and they were doing these slow cooking meals and they were doing these meals that took all day. That's why, they needed to be at home to make those comfort foods and stuff for their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, it started to transition. And this is the thing that people have to understand. There are constant transitions that are happening in the world. And we
Always.
call all of these transitions traditional. It's nothing traditional about it. It was made up and they continue to make stuff up over time. So
Over time.
100 years ago, it was called traditional to be a stay-at-home mother and cook and be pregnant constantly over and over and over and put up with all the things that a man would do, right? That was called traditional back then. Then
Yeah.
fast forward, it became traditional for a woman to be expected to cook, clean, go to a job, do all these other things, wear a
Take care.
thousand different hats. Yeah, wear a thousand different hats, right? Because there was a time where fathers were just present in the home. They weren't a part of the rearing of the children. They weren't a part of the children's lives whatsoever. But that
Yeah.
was called what?
Traditional.
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 Now
Right.
it's called traditional for two people in the house to go to work, right? And work a job because the woman can't stay at home. That's not even an option. So when men claim
No.
this, I'm a man and I'm a masculine and I'm an alpha male and all of these
You need,
things,
you
not
need to be
all of
doing.
them, yeah, not all of them are playing that role because
Right.
your woman or your wife has to go to work. But you
Right.
running around claiming the alpha male and the masculine, and I'm so masculine set. But
Right.
if you're going to play into these uh what?
Roles. These traditional roles.
These traditional roles, if you're going to play into the traditional roles, don't halfway do it. But I feel like people do that a lot of times with stuff. They want to take parts of things and oh, I'm holding on to this close. This is my strong belief. But then you want to ignore all of these other things about it.
Right.
So that's why men are coming around and saying stupid stuff like, what does she bring to the table?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because now we about to be in a whole nother, what is it?
Traditional role.
We
Right.
about to be
Tradition.
in a whole nother traditional
Right.
role. They about to make something else up.
Survive. You can't even survive in California on one income. In California, I know California can't survive on one income.
Yep.
You can't survive on one income. You can't take care of a whole family on one income. It's stressful. And
Mm-hmm.
again, the concept is singing. Oh, I'm not your
Uh-oh.
superwoman.
I can't see
I'm
the
not
chat.
the host that who put that on there? singing "I'm Not Your Superwoman" in my room.
I
Kind.
can't see the chat.
You can't see the chat. The
Mm-mm.
chat shrunk. Now the chat shrunk, and now he put it up on the
Okay,
phone.
I see it now. I see it
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
All right.
I
Now,
don't see the
now
chat.
we working. Now we working.
Okay, I see. Okay. Oh, I sleep. No, okay, I don't see chat.
Okay.
But it's not even like it's not even. You can't even financially be in this like houses, like little houses in California. Little houses are like $1 million.
The tiny one.
$1 million. Like this little. You can't even put a whole family in there. It's
Yep.
just so it's like and it's interesting, it's interesting the men that say these masculine things is okay. No, where
It's Date Affirm the Real. We going there. This is me and you in a conversation. Remember, they're privy to a
most
conversation
of
that
me.
we would
Wait, are you
typically
frozen?
have.
You're frozen.
I'm frozen?
Frozen. I'm frozen.
No.
Okay, there.
I see you.
I was frozen. Okay,
Oh.
and then most of the time that are saying this, they don't have anything to offer. Most of the times, they don't have anything to offer. So the issue is not really. So the issue really goes back to your identification of who you are, like your lack of self-esteem, where you're like, this is if I do what did we say this morning? Like if I want you to be this, then I have to focus on what I need to be.
Mm-hmm. So I think
Because
so. Here's what I think happened, because you were talking about the history of stuff earlier, and I want to hit on something. We didn't talk about this in our call earlier, but I thought about this, and I want to hit on this.
okay,
One of the things that has happened over the years is that men have become very, very reliant on women, right? But they still want to call themselves masculine, and again, to have to announce that
mm-hmm.
is all by itself is strange. Okay, so you're having to constantly talk about I'm a man and I'm masculine and I'm all
Man,
of these things,
I
but
carry fruit.
a lot of men who say that and do those things are men who are very dependent on women, right?
Yes,
They have moved in with that woman, or they live with that woman. The woman is responsible for a lot of the bills. The woman is making a lot of decisions. Women are not even married to these men, and they're making their
yes,
doctor's appointments. They taking care of
uh-huh.
their kids. They going over there taking care of their mamas, their sisters, the cousins. They doing all of the things, and they're not even a wife. So
Wow,
you're putting a man that is constantly telling you how masculine he is in a different position. And so
right,
now we are overcome with these type of men boys,
right,
because they have been catered to and taken care of. So they feel like this is like women are obligated to do these things for them. They
yes,
feel like,
yeah,
these are things that I'm supposed to get. So we
right,
have to be careful as women. We have to
mm-hmm.
be careful as women to know our worth
Yes,
and not just try to be in a relationship with any man,
anybody,
but a
and
man that is more interested in partnership.
yes,
That is
and
the
that
other
was
side of the
bottom line.
conversation.
Right, because what if it's not about masculine or feminine, right? What if it, and this
Mm-hmm.
is the conversation too me and my friend had, what if it's about partnership? What if it's
Mm-hmm.
about looking at each other's strengths and weaknesses and seeing where I'm strong and where you're strong at, and we'll see how we can come together and put it together, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because it's not a and the thing is that it's like they created a competition between us. There's no
Yep.
competition between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
There are strengths you have. Yes, you can pick up a refrigerator. I would never need you to pick up a refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
I can call the refrigerator man to come pick up the refrigerator. You know? Somebody said, what about raising the boy as a child before he becomes a bum? What? What about raising the boy as a child before he becomes a bum? What? Before he becomes a, why you got to be a whole bum though? Why you got to?
Right.
Why you got to be a whole bum?
You
Raising that
put
boy
you
as a
put the
bum.
whole bum on him.
You raising him as a bum? What?
You done made him a whole
The
bum.
men you talking about, the men you talking about are bums.
And so I've heard other people say that it is the single mom's fault that, these boys turn into these men that do this because single moms baby their boys, they give them everything, they're always there for them, they don't hold them accountable, and so they come out to be or feel entitled a lot of times. And so I don't know, like statistically, I don't have the statistics to talk about
Right.
that. And I haven't
Right.
done the research on that. So I really can't speak on that. I think a lot of times, we talk about things that are in our peripheral, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have enough information before me to talk about things like that. Nor am I going to even pull the statistics on that because I ain't doing that. But
Right.
but I will say I do feel like there have been instances where as single moms we may baby and coddle boys a little bit differently than we do girls. I still feel like as a man though, when you become a man, and even if, like, let's just say for instance, like with my son was primarily raised by me. His dad was around, but the contribution level is where it kind of comes, that's where it get a little tricky. The contribution level, to helping his son develop into a young man is where it's questionable. But I
Right.
will say I had quite a few male friends in my life that were very impactful in my son's
Right.
life, that
Right.
contributed to him learning and seeing the examples of good men. He saw some
Right.
examples of
Right. There's
some dudes
tell
that were, and he saw some examples of some great men. My best friend and brother Tart, he has always been a great guy for him to look at as an example. And so, and I've had other friends that have been the same way. His godfather was the same way. Good guy for him to look at as examples. I feel like the same way as a young lady, I may not have had a whole lot of examples. That's not for me to blame everybody that
right.
was around me.
Right.
I
Right.
have
It's not.
a responsibility, okay, to learn, to figure out, to become the woman that I need to become. Not keep
Right. You
blaming,
can't
well, my
possibly.
dad wasn't there, and this didn't happen, and that didn't
We
happen,
can't
and
do
that's
that.
why.
Not.
Nope.
I'm not going to. I was molested. So because as a result, so I should be. I should. I mean, I was a hoe, but I should be still a hoe out there on the in California's hoe in the Empire's hoe. But at some point, I take responsibility for my own actions, and retire the wholeness, right? Like, so as a man,
Retired. You
so
retired.
retire the boyhood, right? Retire the boyhood. But we can't. So and then I'm not. And so here's the thing. So I'm not gonna call them bums because I'm not doing that because I'm not doing that because you know what? I'm not gonna put like because everybody has their struggle. Everybody has a struggle, and it is my responsibility to hold myself as a form of value, right? And to present myself as such, so that way men men can either choose to step up or stay where they are and move
Mm-hmm.
on. And that's okay. If you choose to do what you do, that's fine. I know a guy. I know a couple of guys that have benefited from women helping them. Right. One like was able to create a business. Create a whole business, I mean, what is the word? Like I think that like he what is the word? Not I tip my hat off, or at least he was able to he was able to create something. Not saying his character was all there, but I'm just saying, like, you still had something to work on. But but he was able to create a business, you know. So yes, he had whatever happened to him, whatever he has to work on that, right? I'm not necessarily gonna call nobody a bum, but they got to work on their stuff. Everybody got their stuff they got to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that if I keep on saying these negative, like, oh, like the negative connotations on men, then I'm not. Am I helping? Am I contributing to the cycle? Am I contributing to by putting that out there too? You know, because I want to build up. I want to build up anybody that comes in my space.
Yeah, Fancy
Anybody come.
says, she says on Instagram, thank you. Everyone has their struggle.
Mhm.
And I think this is true. And I think women have had their struggles over the years, which has caused us to feel less worthy and
Mhm.
accept certain behavior from these men that cause them to repeat it. And the reason why, like, I want to touch on it a little bit about how men have gotten to the place where they're going from person to person to person to person doing the same thing. And what's happening is the women are are feeling victimized. The women are
Mm.
feeling wronged. The women are feeling that, it wasn't fair of what happened. But this is
Right.
where accountability has to take place for us on our end,
Right.
is to pay attention to those types of people. And I
Right.
think that's overall. I pay attention to that with friends, with business partners, with relationships overall as a whole. Like, when I see that you lack character, or you lack integrity, or you lack maturity, that is a clear cut sign to me that you just might not be a person that can be in any part of my circle, the inner, the
Right.
outer, the middle, because, but it took me some time to get there. I didn't start there, right? I got
I'm
here by learning from examples, right?
yes.
And I was
Yeah.
listening to something earlier, and this woman said, one of the things I think that we don't honor about ourselves as women is we don't honor the fact that we've all had at least one person treat us good.
Mm.
But yet we will deal with people who treat us bad. We will continue to deal. That was supposed to be your template. That was supposed to be your template right there. You have at least one person treat you good. So why would you settle for anything less than that type of good? You should be
Mm.
looking for that or above. But
Right.
instead, we'll drop our expectations, we'll drop our self esteem, we'll drop our worth for people that don't even deserve to be in our space. They don't even deserve to be in our space. And so this ain't about I'm higher than you or I'm lower than you. It is
Right.
what it is. Period.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm not doing a comparison of, I make more money, or I have more success, or I have
Right.
this, or I have that. It's about, like I said, character and integrity and respectability and honesty and, all of those types of things. But
Right.
people
Right.
aren't looking at that. As women, sometimes we just want a body.
Yeah.
We
Right.
just be wanting a body.
But where did that come from? So if we're talking about what did we say earlier? What was it again? Traditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, women couldn't even get property. They couldn't even determine if they want to not have children anymore. This
Mm-hmm.
so doctors that won't give women what is it? Pregnancy prevention stuff. Like, I can't even think of the word.
Contraceptives.
Thank you. Or permanent contraceptive. They won't even give it to them until they've consulted with their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
We are not like even historically, women could not purchase anything or couldn't do anything, and they were and because they needed a man. They couldn't
Mm-hmm.
even have property. And so now we're and so but again, but where did that come from? The colonizers. So let's get that out there. So the thing is that the colonizers taught us and trained us to be exactly what this is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the men that are manly men, who taught you that? The colonizers. Colonizers taught you that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they taught you, right? Because historically and culturally, like the native peoples, indigenous peoples, Africans, they worked together. They worked together. It
Exactly.
was a whole community. It was a whole community that worked
And
together.
the traditions that we see now aren't even for black people. They didn't create those traditions for black people. They
Mm-hmm.
created these traditions for themselves. We had our own traditions that got stripped away from us, like you just said. Our
Mm-hmm.
traditions were stripped away. This is why we're the furthest apart from each other right now. This is why
Yes.
we cannot connect, collaborate. Everything is hostile. We see everything as, competition, and we
Yep.
don't want to see other people have more success than us, because you've adopted other people's traditions that don't have
Yes.
nothing to do with you.
And it's lack of, and then and I was watching, it was something that came on Instagram, and then she was talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you, and it's a triangle. And she was
Mm-hmm.
saying that Maslow, she said, actually, Maslow actually took it, the concept is more westernized, but he took it from indigenous people. And when he watched the indigenous people, he watched that they had community. They had
Yeah.
community. And so,
Yep.
but the Western culture teaches you, like, no, you got to be on your own, or or it's this like dog eat dog world kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not about community. So now we're divided. So now our men
Yep.
are divided from us,
Mm-hmm.
constantly divided from us. They see us as competition,
Yep.
and so do we want partnership, or do we want to justify your manliness? Like,
Yep.
do you want a partner, or you want somebody justifying your manliness?
Mm-hmm.
Because a partnership, how far can you go with partnership? When you just have to justify your manliness, you always got to create this, whatever that is, that's very stressful. That puts a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stress on you, puts a lot of stress on the community around you, because you want to carry things, because because you think that the man's supposed to carry everything on his shoulders, and I
Yeah.
got it, and I'll just be quiet. And most of y'all are dying out because that's what y'all doing. So how's it working for you?
Yeah. Babe, can you put some comments up on the screen? I haven't seen
I
any comments come
I
up on the
have some
screen.
thoughts
I can see the comments to the right, but I can't see them come up on the
at the
bottom of
bottom.
the screen. So
So
if you can share those messages, please. Thank you so much. We
So we
headed
headed
back to
back
the tradition, aka abortion laws.
to
Yeah,
abortion.
and here's the thing, y'all. Like, um, you can do your own research. Like, we didn't start off with our disclaimer. Like, you don't
Right,
have to believe what we say. You don't have to agree, and you certainly don't have to switch your own belief or moral system. We're sharing, our
point
own point of
point.
view and our own opinion. So this is our
Yeah,
opinion. We're not trying to put it off on anybody. We're sharing. As I always say, eat the fish and throw the bones away. If it's not applicable, throw it away. If it adds any type of value to your life, take it and get full off of it. And
right.
so, um, thanks, babe, for sharing the comments. And
She was
Fancy
saying
said credit
that
cards in 1974.
we couldn't even get credit cards, right? So
Yeah,
we couldn't even get credit cards until. So this is
yeah.
where that concept of, even, okay. So I even wrote down, because that song from uh the song from uh after the pain,
Mm-hmm.
uh no pain, no gain. And this one, I remember when I was listening to the song, I was like, oh, this is my song. And then she was like, don't blame Mr. Charlie. Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie is just a man, and he's doing the best he can. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? Because Mr. Charlie was out there messing around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the woman was like, don't blame Mr. Charlie, he's just a man. So they justified the behavior. And he wasn't a
Yep.
boy, he was a grown man. That's what they did with the grown men. Don't blame Mr. G. He's just a man, because this is what men do. This, boys, let boys be boys. Again, where did that concept come from? Where did that concept come from? Let boys be boys.
The traditional stuff.
And where's that got us now, thus far? Against each other.
The colonizer stuff.
They got us against and divided against each other.
Yep.
And that's the thing. So that's the thing. So again, it's like, what if a partnership could be so much easier? What if a partnership is like, okay, babe, let's sit down. Okay, what are your strengths? What and it's okay to have strengths and weaknesses. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm not good in this area, but I'm good in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got you in this area. In this area, I'm not too strong. Well, baby, I'm good in this area, but I can't in this area. I can't.
Yeah.
Right. So I need you in this area. You know,
Because what does the masculine and feminine conversation get us but divided?
divided and
What is
arguing.
the alpha male and the I'm a man and
Right.
where does that get us? It keeps us divided and it keeps us fighting and it keeps us
Right.
not together
Yeah.
and
And
out of partnerships.
out of partnerships, out of a healthy partnership that could be beneficial to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that too, even when I think about like the certain ideas of what femininity is and how they used to wear the corsets, well, the corsets used to stop them from breathing. They
Yep.
couldn't breathe, so they didn't want them to speak. They wanted them
Mm-hmm.
to shut up. So they wanted us to close our mouths. That was that was their concept. That was their concept that they and so we think that idea is. I remember watching people and they're like, my husband has never seen my natural hair or me without makeup. What? You
Mm-hmm.
can't even be yourself to your mate. You can't be yourself and he can't embrace you. You got to put on a mask all the time. All the time, you got to put on a mask. Like, how beneficial is that to you? How
Yeah.
healthy is that for you? How healthy is that for you loving on you?
Hmm.
You
Talk about
know?
it.
What if what if it's about Betty Wright? Thank you. That was
Mm-hmm.
that song, Betty Wright. Yes. You know, and it's like, what if what if we could just start moving towards a healthier us? What if it's not about masculine or feminine ideas or concepts, but what if it's just about loving and healing each other? What
Yep.
if we like I remember when I did a because I told you I do the baths with my the Black the African spiritual group, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them was a exorcism. He was like, "This is an exorcism." He said, "Because we go clean out everything that the colonizers have taught you,
Mm-hmm.
everything that's ingrained in you and instilled in you, all the lies and all the falsehoods that we it's instilled in you. We go clean it. We go clean it today. We go get rid of
Mm-hmm.
it today." You
Yep.
know, the lies and the lies and it just keeps us divided. It just keeps us fight each other. And so end up even like when I think about the and this is and even when I think about the what you call it bros, like they thought that if they go out of town that they have women that again with the concept of a quiet woman or whatever they thought they was gonna get, and most of them got.
Oh, the passport bros.
Thank you, passport
Yeah.
bros. And most of
Yeah.
them got out there and got themselves in some situations that weren't healthy. But had they learned the value of themselves and learned to strengthen themselves and not hold on to this concept of or this idea of what something's supposed to look like, they wouldn't have been
Mm-hmm.
caught up like that. And some people maybe they're doing better. I don't know, but again, all I know is that at the end of the day, loving on you is always the best.
Hmm. Point blank. And the other thing is, I think that contributes also to why some men want these young girls, and even little girls because they want that control. They want to be able to dominate. They feel like that is what makes them masculine. That
And
is
yeah,
that is what
dominate
makes them
and,
masculine if I can go get a young girl, if I can go get a
and
little girl, if
tell her to
because it's about
mold her.
control.
Mm,
It's strictly about control. It's about dominating. It's about that feeling again. It's about that feeling of this is what's going to make me a man. If I get to control, if I get to dominate, if I get to put fear instill fear in her, that is
right.
my masculinity. Think about how many men, they go from being married 30 years and then they go get a woman that's 30 years younger because they don't feel like they're in control of the situation anymore. Their wife
Mm,
has their wife has settled into their life and she's kind of moving her way, doing her thing, more comfortable in her womanhood, and he doesn't like that. He does not want to see her go off and do her own separate things. No, you're supposed to be a mom. You're supposed to be this. And this is why women don't know what to do with themselves when their
when
kids
they
go
get
off to
gone.
school. And
Hmm.
when the kids go off to school, they find that the marriage is no longer existent because you have made your man and your kids your entire life.
Mm. And you don't even know who you are.
But we want to keep talking about masculine and feminine energy. Stay in your masculine energy, men. Women, stay in your feminine energy. We need to have both energetically. We
Right. Because
need
I'm
to,
going to,
and it doesn't need to be a you have 49% masculine energy and 51%. Like, cut it out.
stop it. Stop it. It's not even healthy. It's not even healthy to be full, like when the whole alpha male, it's not even healthy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even healthy to be all of that and just, and nothing else. It's not
Yes,
even healthy. That's like that's a mental illness. If you're like,
it
I'm just,
is.
oh man, and I'm going to hold my feelings in, I'm going to hurt. That's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy and stressful on your heart if you just hold all that in because you feel like your man doesn't need help. Or and that's again because the concept of community is indigenous, is African,
Mm-hmm.
is native. The concept of community is important, and the men of the community knew they needed each other. So the concept, that's why you've fallen, because you follow in the concept of somebody else's belief in their own culture. Find
Exactly.
yourself.
Because our
Find yourself.
ancestors, our ancestors, the men, they turned to other men for help. They didn't
Community. Yeah.
see they didn't see seeking help
Yes.
as a weakness.
Yes.
But we see these things as a weakness, and so we
Yes.
don't ask for help, and we don't even want to help because we want to see other people fail for whatever
Mm.
sick reason. We want to see other people that look like us fail. We are the only group that does that. I don't care what traditions they came up with that we keep following, that ain't for us. We're the only ones that want to follow something that wasn't intended for us, and we're not
Mm.
even benefiting from that shit.
Man. Man. Mm.
We ain't even benefited from it, but we want to take
Mm.
on other people's traditions. We want to take on people that enslaved us, their
Right.
traditions. We want to take that on, get mad at each other because we don't take on the same traditions, and then we
Right.
attack each other, don't support each other. Look, again,
Right.
this is what we're sharing, okay? we
Right.
don't have to we don't have to do what other people are doing. We had our own traditions, we had our own
Right.
ways, and we were a community back then. We
Right.
came together, we
Right.
celebrated each other, we supported one another, we
Right.
stood together. You can put that
Yes.
back up there, babe. I didn't see it.
It says he said we need to redefine masculine and feminine energy, create our own traditions. Okay, hold on. So masculine and feminine energy is different than masculine and feminine roles.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has masculine and feminine energy.
Yep.
Everybody has that. Everybody has that because we're spirit. Spirit is like the yin and yang.
Yep.
It's the yin and yang. We have it. We all have it. It's just that we've. So what's happened is people said, well, this part is that's for the women and this part is for the men. So you don't talk about your feelings, but that's natural and that's healthy to
Mm-hmm.
talk and and so what it is that they're like, no, we're gonna divide that again and again. That the divide and conquer, whatever, like whatever they're always dividing. It's always division. It's
Mm-hmm.
always division something, and it's unhealthy. And again, it's not about community, and it's not about embracing. Um, shoot, even Muslims when Muslims and Palestinians, they kiss each other on the cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Out they kiss each other. Men kiss each other on the cheek. You know, so it's like, does that make them feminine? No, because they out there fighting. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
So
think we have a fear of going against the traditions
Mm-hmm.
because we went along with the traditions for so long that now it scares us to
To
get
step
deeply
outside.
rooted into who we really are. And
Well,
who we
okay.
really are is we're still connected to our ancestors. We're still connected to the people before us that led these traditions. And the reason why I talk about healing all the time is because that's even connected to it. We're not
Yes.
we're not healing from those generational things because
Yes.
we're staying tied to these
Yes.
traditions, which keep us
Okay.
further
Trauma,
away from
which
healing.
is trauma, which is trauma. The traditions for us is trauma. It's trauma. You reinforcing trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You're reinforcing trauma. Fancy more. Are we even aware of how all of this has come about? That's an awareness that gets drowned out in a world that is constantly pushing narrative and agendas. Yes, we are aware. Yeah, we sure are aware. But it doesn't matter because it's been so ingrained. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's been so ingrained. And what was that? Because even what is it called? There's a theory that I can't think of the word, the terminology for the theory, but the theory is that, and I've said this before, is that we there's generational trauma up to 8 generations. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've done studies on rats where the rats got buzzed. Like so, say they went to the corner of a box or whatever, they went to the corner of a box and they got buzzed, right? They got buzzed, and they stopped going to that corner. They would have children, and the children wouldn't even go to the corner of the box because they still experience the trauma from their daddy.
Yep.
So here we are. Now here we are with the concepts of what they've taught us and the trauma that they've kept us in. That they've kept us in the trauma. And so we continue to reinforce the trauma instead of healing ourselves and healing and getting closer to ourselves and our ancestors and those that came before us, like our
Mm-hmm.
and like our tradition,
Mm-hmm.
that they stripped us from, right?
Yep.
So we can be connected to each other. So we can be connected to each other. But
Right,
it's just
because
about
that's how we get connected to each other. That way. I love that. Yes. That's it. Because that's
there.
why we're so far apart. And the reason why, like, I have such an issue with all of these different things that they've created to have us attached to outside of ourselves. Not going completely, I ain't gonna go all the way there, even though this date affirmed the real. I ain't going there tonight because we got what, 12 minutes left. 'Cause that's a whole series as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. But all of the things that we attach to outside of ourselves versus going internally, like the reason why I know that this works is because I was a part of something outside of myself, and when I separated from that and I started to become connected to myself, I became closer with those that I'm supposed to be connected to, because those people are also doing internal work for themselves. They're connecting with themselves as well. So
Right.
again, we are oftentimes saying, I need something external. I need something outside of me. I need all of these other things that's going to give me what I need. When you go
Right.
internal, this is how you connect with your community. This is how
Right.
you connect. Get back
Yes.
to that is what we need to
Right.
do so that we
Yes.
can heal and have healthier
Yes.
relationships with ourselves and whoever
Yes.
we partner with.
Yes. Junior Lily, a lot of things we do are done out of subconsciousness because of what is ingrained from history. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
that's why we have to identify. But that's the thing too. We have to identify. Okay, wait a minute. What like? And then, but you have to be present. You have to be present in order to notice if it's working or if it's not working. Right? You have to be like, wait, I just did something, and why did I do that? Was that? I need to change that behavior. Is that behavior need
Mm-hmm.
to change? Because did it work for me? Did it work for
Yeah.
me? If it didn't work for you, then let me figure this out because I don't want to do this no more. Sometimes we don't need to go back and be like, where did that come from? Sometimes because that takes you down a whole rabbit hole. Sometimes it needs to be, okay, I don't want to do that no more, so we got to change this behavior. So
Yeah.
how am I gonna change this behavior? Sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
can't go down the rabbit hole. Just change. Let's work on changing behavior. Let's go to the rabbit hole another day. But sometimes let me change this. You know what? Let me apologize. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do something different. Let me try something different to see if this will work. Because it didn't work for me, nor did it work for them.
Right. And then also be gentle with yourself as you go through that
Yes,
process because unlearning can be difficult. Look,
yes,
as a person who was very, very
yes,
deeply into church, right? And very deeply into religion, I one of the things that I had to do was forgive myself for
yes,
for not understanding that
yes.
the reason why I wasn't connecting and the reason why I was confused some of the time and the reason why these things weren't always resonating with me is because I wasn't being true. I wasn't being true to who I was. And I felt that deep down. I didn't know what it was at the time. It was very conflicting for me. And when you're
Yes.
doing something for a very long time, you get nervous about how other people will react to that. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to grieve the process of being taught
Yes,
something for a
yes,
very long time. I had to grieve that. I had to grieve those
yes.
connections. I had to grieve what I had come to understand to be true. I had to grieve a lot of different things. And then I had to be okay with doing it the way that I felt the most connected to.
Yes,
And
yes,
the way that I felt the most connected to was going inward.
yes, yeah,
That was the way that I felt more. That's how I started to heal. That's how
yeah,
I started to be able to connect with other people in a healthier way
yes,
because I
yeah.
didn't have the same, my prescription had changed.
Hmm.
My prescription had just changed because
That's right.
I knew that in order for us to have community, in order for us to have true deep, passionate love for one another. And this is whether it's romantic or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
In order for us to have that deep love for one another, like we got to kind of strip some things away and back. And that's
Right.
okay. It's okay
But
to
that's
recognize that.
right. And even that same love, that same deep love that you have for others, you got to have it for yourself first. A
Yes.
deep love for yourself. You got to have a deep love for yourself and the
Yeah.
God within you. You got to have a deep
Yes.
love for right here. A deep love. You are not meant to be a doormat. You are not meant to be a doormat. You are
Mm-hmm.
meant to be love. Be love yourself. And that way love will
Yes.
come towards you. Be love yourself.
Exactly.
Walk in love. Be love. Man. The Bible even says love yourself as you love others.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You
Yes.
have to do that for yourself first. If you don't do it for yourself first, you go choose anything for you.
You'll
If you
choose
don't
anything. Anything. So can we stop getting caught up in the masculine and feminine and
man,
alpha male, alpha female conversation? Can we
please,
stop that, y'all? So that we can
please,
come together and so that we can love one another in community, so that we can
please,
build families, so that we
please,
can stop being toxic to one another, so that we can
please.
stop seeing each other as competition. Hey,
Yeah,
Misi. Misi said,
yeah,
real talk. Good to see you, Misi.
that's
We
right,
miss you.
that's right.
We miss you, Missy.
Yeah,
Fancy said the process of it all. Oh, yes. Like it's a process. Again, eat the fish, throw the bones away. What's applicable, take it, hold on to it. Let it nurture and feed you. Let it serve your soul. But the things that ain't for you, we get it. We understand. Set it to the
this how
side.
much we love. This how much we love you, right? We love you so much. We let you choose for you. Look how exciting that is. You can choose for you.
It's
We're not
amazing.
making. Yeah,
It's
look at
amazing.
that. If it doesn't work for you, if it does,
I think it's important that we recognize the things that may cause separation and
yes,
which causes division and which
yes,
causes judgment. We have to
yes,
be very careful about the things that we're choosing that cause separation, division, confusion, conflicting. Like we have to be careful. Are you choosing because that's chaotic? That's chaotic. And I don't believe we're supposed to be moving in chaotic energy. I
mm,
don't believe we're supposed to. I believe we're supposed to have harmonious, beautiful, loving relationships with ourselves and others. How do you know yourself? You don't go and ask someone else about you.
Yes.
I said what I said. Now
My
that,
neighbor.
I'm saying pretty sharply.
That's right.
Nobody else can tell you about you but
Man.
you.
That's it.
So why do we keep looking for external, 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 external? Tell me who I am. Give me validation. Give me. You need to know you. You need to feel powerful. You need to know that you're powerful. You need to know
Yes.
your worth.
That's right. That's right.
We
That's
can't
right,
keep
Kelly.
sitting up talking about, well, I just need to be sure I'm completely in my feminine energy. And he's sitting back, I need to be in my masculine energy. She need to listen to me. She need to cook my food and make my plate. And okay, see what type of happiness comes from that. See what type of community comes from that. And then
And
you
how many?
make your own decision.
Right. Yep. Or you can have a partnership where it's easier and you don't have to think all the time.
And that's true. I'll say this in closing. Marcus and I, we have never had that issue where it's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to handle that. Or I don't ever say to him, so I don't like taking my car to get serviced. I absolutely hate it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll say to him, you know what, babe? I need for that to be your job in this partnership, right? Like the same way these certain things will be these are things that I'll do because it's easy for me. I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
doing it and I'm
Right.
gifted at doing it, right?
Right.
And so for him, he doesn't mind taking the car to get service. In fact, he like doing it. He like telling them people what he tell them, whatever it is, right? And so I think, having those conversations, like you said earlier, having those conversations early on with your partner, rather than that whole, what do you bring to the table conversation?
Right.
Or, I'm a man and I like for my women to, she need to be a size 4 and she need to
Aha.
cut it out. Cut it
Yeah.
out. This is why we're divided. We're divided because we want to take on other people's approach to what life looks like. That's other people's approach.
Somebody else's. Yeah.
It's not our approach. We used to live all in the same hood together, take care of each other's kids, take care of each
Yes.
other's parents, take care of
Yep.
each other's spouses without being
Right.
worried about them sleeping with each other. These are the types of things we used to do as community. Now
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, we done took on other people's stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
ain't even ours.
Not ours. That's not ours. Give it back. Let them have it. Return it back to sender.
Let them have
Return
it.
it back to sender. You can have that. That's not mine.
So we only got a couple of minutes left, but does anybody have any questions for us? Does anybody have any comments for us? Do you even have any complaints? We don't care, but we'll listen to them.
Complaints. Complaints. Let's say them.
What do you guys have for us? Any comments, questions, concerns, or complaints? We're gonna address those in the next couple of minutes, and if you don't have any comments or questions or concerns, we will close out our typical way. But I do want to give you guys just a few moments. I know that there's a lag, and we want to give you a few moments to add your you may even add something to the conversation that may help us that we can
Mm-hmm.
learn from as well.
Right.
We
Yes.
don't know everything.
It says make your own decisions and your own plate. Yes.
That was
That's
Marcus.
right.
I know that was Marcus.
And your own plate. Not making your plate. I might. It depends. It depends. One day I might be like, I got you, baby. And sometimes I'll be like, babe, I don't want to make your plate.
I don't even know why he's saying that because I make his plate.
Hilarious. He's such a child.
Hot mess.
Wow, I'm frozen. I'm frozen again. Okay. My back? Okay.
Okay, so we got a comment from Fancy. She says, "So glad we are having these discussions." Yes, thanks for sharing that, Fancy. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
Like, for real, we appreciate that.
Yes.
Um, yeah, that like warms my heart to know like people do like to get engaged in these conversations because each of us have different understandings and experiences,
Yeah.
and we're just here sharing. And
Yeah.
so if you receive it, we're always appreciative of that. So
Yes. Yes.
so we don't see any other comments or any other questions. So Shamika's going to close us out as usual. And if we see any comments or questions as she closes us out, then we'll address that before we end the live.
Yes. So
Let's
let's
do it.
breathe in. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Breathe out. 2, 4, 5. We thank you guys again for coming, for showing up. We ask that you guys continue to show up for yourselves too throughout the week. And may all of life come to us with ease and joy and glory. How does it get any better than that? And what else is possible? Thank you guys for showing up.
Yes. Namaste.
Thank you,
You
Fancy Laura.
guys,
Thanks,
thanks,
Holly.
Fancy.
Thank you,
Uh
Junior.
oh, thanks, Don. We
Yeah.
appreciate y'all. So, sometimes I'm gonna be transparent with you guys. Sometimes when we're having these conversations about what we're gonna talk about, I'm like, oh Lord. the people gonna be like,
Yes.
so let me just say this. We truly appreciate the engagement. We appreciate the support. Misi came back tonight. We haven't seen Misi in a minute, and we've always enjoyed Misi being a part of the crew. She shows up and shows out. Fancy, thank you. I think this is probably the first time you have spent the whole time with us on the live, so we thank you.
Hey.
Big thanks to our co-host, my babe Marcus, and Don, Junior Lily, for always holding it down. And if you want to get some more good conversation, next Wednesday, 7:30, Junior Lily and Marcus will be going live. Until next
Yes.
time, you guys, we love you. Keep it healing in your life. All right? Keep it healing.
Yes.
Peace.
Bye, guys.